only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and our fermenter-tainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now today, I'm very excited for where we are, because I've heard a lot of good things about this place, and I don't think I've ever actually been.
We are back in Pennsylvania.
We are back in Pennsylvania.
After a short jaunt to New Jersey.
Yes, exactly.
Last time.
We are back in Pennsylvania. We are in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We are at HiJinx Brewing Company, and we have two guys that have been kind enough to donate some time to us. We have with us
Chris Becker
and
Curt Keck.
Guys, thank you so much for stepping up to the microphones with us today. I'm very excited to be here. We've already had one of the beers. I'm going to save my comments on it for the tasting segment because it's. I'll preface it with it was really good. But we have a lot to get through. We have a couple of news stories, and I want to get to know you guys. So let's start with this. So I've got two stories, both of which are actually sort of sports related. The first one I found kind of interesting. Yes, sports. Yeah, we've all heard it. So the first one I thought was kind of interesting. Now, it's only really going to apply to people in Minnesota, which is probably very few people that are listening to this right now. But it's interesting because it's a new collaboration with very popular cereal with Wheaties. So Wheaties is partnering with a craft brewery to create a very limited edition beer. It's going to be out in 16-ounce cans. They're only going to be available in Minneapolis, St. Paul, starting August 26th. So it's not exactly clear yet what makes it the Wheaties beer, but it does contain wheat, and it's going to be a wheat beer, and it's going to be called Heffa Wheaties.
Heffa Wheaties, yes.
Yes, instead of Hefeweizen.
I get it.
Yes.
I think the only connection, as far as what I've heard about this, is that it's a wheat beer.
Yeah,
and Wheaties. Like, that's it. That's
there's really no details
really just
on
a
it
branding
yet, except
thing
for that. Yeah. We're not saying it's a breakfast beer, but we're not saying it's not. Said
No,
Ryan,
if you're in Germany, a Hefeweizen is very much a breakfast beer.
right.
So
but we're
watch
not.
what you
Isn't all
say.
beer for breakfast?
Yeah, really?
Could be. Absolutely.
Is there a beer that's not a breakfast beer?
Now, that was from Ryan Petz, who is the president of Fulton Brewery, which is a Minneapolis-based brewery that is making this beer. He said the beer is also intended to tie his company to the heritage of Minneapolis, which is also home to General Mills. So Fulton will consider making the beer more widely available depending on how people react to the initial run, he said. A General Mills spokesman, Mike Seminis, said the company left the development of the beer to Fulton, and he declined to say whether the company has plans to tap an athlete or celebrity to endorse the beer.
And kind of have to.
Yeah, on the can.
It's the tradition of it.
I did see pictures of the can.
Yeah.
The label design is really cool.
Yeah,
I think it looks really cool.
just like the cereal box.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a...
That would make sense.
Well, when you have a good look, why deviate from it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's been around forever. It's a name people are going to recognize. So I'm anxious to see if they do make it available after this initial run, if it'll go past Minneapolis, St. Paul, if we have a chance of getting it out here, or if it's going to stay there but be available year-round.
I'm interested to see if it's any good.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
So maybe I was soching. I didn't hear the beginning. Is there a reason why it's only going to be in that area? Is that where Wheaties is from?
That is where General Mills is.
General Mills and Fulton,
and
the
Fulton
brewing
Sorry.
company. Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Hashtag. Sorry, not sorry.
Pay attention.
Yeah, right. So the next story is a little more sports-oriented. It is about everyone's favorite / least favorite quarterback, Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
Do we like or not like Tom Brady?
I don't like Tom Brady.
Shut the hell up.
I don't even.
You're just jealous because he has a whole hand ring. So
no,
whatever.
but I find it very funny that he's been suspended for 4 games.
Whatever.
Yeah. So
they can still win.
I have no idea what's going on.
Are you going to talk about the Tom Brady sucks on the bottom of the beer cans?
Tom Brady sucks on the bottom of beer cans.
I'm a Steelers fan, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, we were talking about handfuls of rings?
Well, yeah, I really can't say anything.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that was a sick burn.
Slightly.
Don't ever use that phrase again. You look like an idiot.
You look like an idiot because of what you said.
Yep. Exactly.
This is an audio medium,
Yes.
so I can look like an idiot all I want.
Yep.
An employee of Sun King Brewing, who goes by the name of Biscuit, was so filled with disdain for Tom Brady that one day he took the opportunity to stamp "Tom Brady sucks" under their beer cans. Where you would usually see the born-on dates or the expiration dates on cans, beer brewing company Sun King Brewing is known for stamping fun messages like movie quotes or one-liners on their cans. So during, for example, the Indianapolis 500, local news outlet Indy Star reports that the company put "turn left and go fast" on the bottom of their cans. It was really, really random, said Sun King co-owner Clay Robinson. Not so random, however, was the stamp "Tom Brady sucks." So Robinson told the Indy Star that the print was the work of an employee, this guy named Biscuit. Which, how do you go by Biscuit anyway? Like, does he have a friend named Gravy?
Rock and Gravy.
Rock and
We
Gravy?
should hook up Mark Graves and
There
Biscuit.
we go.
Totally.
It was an
Do a
idea.
collaboration beer. Biscuits and gravy.
It was an idea that we, the company, came up with. Was not an idea that we came up with at all. Robinson told the Star, "Every day we change the thing on the bottom of our cans." That was a direct quote. Every day we change the thing on the bottom of our cans. One of the guys running the canning lines had to come up with something. Biscuit was his name, so Biscuit put "Tom Brady sucks." The stamp made its way onto some 20,000 of the company's Wee-Mac Scottish-style ale, according to the Star. The idea came to Biscuit on... That just sounds so stupid to say. The idea came to Biscuit on May 13th during the height of Deflategate. So, for people not in the know...
I know what that is.
All right, so never mind. So despite the rivalry between the Indiana Colts and the Patriots, Robinson said that the Indiana-based company doesn't condone Biscuit's actions.
You know this isn't the end of the story, though. Did you see, in response, Oscar Blues printed "Nice job, Biscuit" on the bottom of their cans?
That I did not see,
And
no.
then I just saw today that Blue Hills Brewery in Canton, Massachusetts, they printed something, "A Luck Sucks." I don't know who that is, but
I don't
The
know.
work of the employee known as Sausage.
Oh, God.
apparently that's, I don't know, it's like the comeback.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So it's kind of like a Twitter war.
It's
but
a
on cans.
beer can war.
Yeah. The bad
Stamp.
news for those wanting to get their hands on the
Oh,
cans
it's the
are...
Colts quarterback, Andrew Luck. So they put "A Luck
Oh, A
Sucks"
Luck,
on the
okay.
bottom of their cans.
The cans are likely now sold out from everywhere they are, and in fact, Robinson assumes that most were either consumed and recycled without anyone even noticing that they were hating Tom Brady in
So
the action.
check the bottom of your cans, kids.
Yes.
Could be a collector's
and
item.
Biscuit now has to submit in writing his plans for all can stampings from here on out.
Oh, I thought he was going to have to submit an apology.
Which is now known as the Biscuit Rule.
The Biscuit rule.
The Biscuit Rule
Yes.
2015. Biscuit v. Tom Brady.
Biscuit v. Brady. Let the courts decide. But that's all we have in the news for this time around. So like I said earlier, we're on location at HiJinx Brewing out towards the Allentown way. We are living here in Allentown. Billy Joel played Philly last night as of this recording, and I wasn't
Did he
there.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the
Yeah.
song's actually about Bethlehem.
It is about Bethlehem, but it is called Allentown.
And Rich is in Bethlehem right now.
he is going towards vegan treats just for
But
you.
he'll be back soon.
Yes. And he's adding pictures to Facebook and all while he's driving.
Yes.
Apparently. Maybe he was there in line. Maybe.
That's our DD, everyone.
But
Oh, I thought he was coming back.
so did I at first.
I was like,
He's
what?
not in the room.
But we have Chris and Curt, who were kind enough to sit at the table with us to represent HiJinx tonight. So guys, thank you again for inviting us out here, for stepping up to the mic with us.
Thanks for having us on the show.
Thanks for coming out.
Wow, thank you. Now I'm excited too. We already had the Wicked White, which was great. And I know we're going to get into that in a little bit. While
We're going to
we're
drink
on the
more
air.
of it, I hope.
Yeah, but I'm excited to get to know what led up to HiJinx being in existence. Now I know you guys were both homebrewers, right?
Yeah, I've been brewing about 20 years now.
All right.
I worked for 2 other microbreweries. So I've been brewing about 20 years. When this whole thing came about was 2006. A bunch of us hanging out in my garage, which became the brewery. Just a bunch of guys saying, "Hey, why don't you do this for a living? Why don't
Yeah.
you open a brewery?" And I said, "All right, I'll give it a go." And I said, "Well, let's come up with a name." And I said, "We need a name that speaks to the hijinks that takes place in this garage." We all just kind of looked at each other and went, "Oh shit, that was easy." And we went back to drinking. But yeah, as things progressed and we got closer to the actual fruition of this, I knew I couldn't do it by myself, and I met Chris through the Lehigh Valley Homebrew Club, and loved what he was doing. Guy makes great beer, He's definitely a solid mechanical guy, super adept at anything he gets his hands on. So I asked Chris to be my partner. Got kind of the ball rolling, started brewing in my garage, spent about 2.5 years brewing on a 1-barrel system out of my garage, and now we're here. So everything's kind of tenfold, and we moved from a 1-barrel to a 10-barrel, 400 square feet to 4,000 square feet. Now we have a tasting room. It's great. So that's kind of how things progressed.
It's cool. I like the atmosphere here too. Now you guys, you got together, you started brewing there. I know, Chris, I saw your first batch that you made as a homebrewer was an IPA, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
So what led into? I know your bio on the site says that you went into like the non-traditional styles and started with barrel aging, which, by the way, there's a bunch of barrels behind me that I really like the look of.
Delicious-looking barrels.
But what kind of inspired that journey then?
I like to do more interesting things. Get into a little bit something different, not doing what everyone else was doing. I really enjoyed barrel aging beers and sour beers. I know it's hard to do as a home brewer. I was making 30-gallon batches at home. So
wow.
Yeah, really.
It made sense to start putting
same
it in
amount
barrels.
of time, might as well.
Yeah, same amount of time. Made sense to start putting it in barrels, messing around with barrel aging and icing beers and sour beers. So that's basically where I went with it.
So you really just kind of ran out of places to put all that beer and just decided, well, I'll throw them in some barrels.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
So he bribed me with one of the sour beers. That's how he became my partner.
All right, that makes sense.
That makes
He's like, come on, man, I got this awesome sour. And he was right, it was awesome.
So what was it like scaling up to the system you have now? Like how'd that go?
Like I said, I worked for 2 other breweries, so I had a little bit of experience with scaling beers. We got in here, maybe a batch, and we were pretty dialed in. We were really happy about that. I mean, anytime you move from any piece of equipment, whether it be 10-barrel to 10-barrel or 1-barrel to 10-barrel, there's going to be variances in the product. So, it's just a matter of dialing things in, and, I think we did a pretty good job of getting there quickly. Our beers didn't really suffer.
Good.
So I have 2 follow-up questions from when I first interviewed you back in November during your grand opening weekend. My first question is, are you still working for the National Tattoo Association?
I am still full-time for National Tattoo
Okay,
Association.
follow-up question. Do you have a freaking tattoo yet?
I do not.
that was going to be my question.
I am still naked.
Because I know you kind of tossed around the idea of maybe a HiJinx logo somewhere.
It's not out of the question.
Well, your 1-year anniversary is only a few years away for being in this location.
So
It's a few months away.
Did I say years?
You said years.
I've only had 1 beer. Damn. It's only a few months away. Your 1-year anniversary here at this location, so maybe you could celebrate by finally getting that HiJinx logo. What do you think?
Have somebody come in here and do it.
That would be
on
awesome.
site.
That would be awesome.
We would video it.
That
totally.
would be pretty epic.
That would be pretty epic.
It would
Face
be.
painting for the kids, tattoos for adults.
That's right. That's what I'm
I'll
talking
think about that. I'll think about that.
That is a great idea.
Tattoos for kids, if you're
There
interested.
you go. All you need is waiver
Parents'
forms.
signature.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That makes it all legit.
No, I can't say that. I'm going to get in trouble with my boss.
Chris, do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
No, you're both naked. Well, neither do I. They do, not me.
I do. Yeah.
So, Chris, when Curt came to you with the idea of partnering with him, was it like an instant hell yeah, or was it something? Yeah.
No, I think he said you're out of your fucking mind. Or at least that's what he should have said.
No, for sure. I had thought about it, wanting to do it, and when he approached me, I definitely was in.
Nice. And I see you're both award-winning homebrewers before this, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are any of the beers that are currently on tap or available, are any of them
Wicked
homebrew
White
recipes?
Yeah,
that-
Wicked White is actually had a national win.
wow.
The Barista's Choice, which is not on right now, actually gold medal at the Masters Championships.
That beer is amazing.
The base beer for that.
The base beer for that. Steal Your Face, many local competitions, plenty of medals. I'm sorry that sounds arrogant, but that's my baby. I love that beer. I'm an Imperial Stout drinker, so.
A lot of the stuff I won awards with are lagers, which we haven't gotten into yet. We just don't have the tank space to tie up yet.
Is that something you guys would like to get into, some lagering? At
Yeah,
some
for
point?
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That'd be
it's
awesome,
just
yeah.
with the startup like this, having a few fermenters, we can get 2 batches through in the time of 1 batch vlogger.
Yeah,
so,
and Chris has done his Maibach, which we have released to the market under Headbutt. Great beer, award-winning beer. We'd love to bring that back, and as soon as the tank space allows it, we will do that.
Now we're looking at the 10-barrel system, but behind us is still this smaller system.
This is the garage system.
The garage system, but you still use this system, correct?
All the time. So we try to get a new beer on tap in the tasting room every week. So we experiment with this. We do, one of us will come up with a crazy idea, and we'll do it. I mean, one barrel. What do we got to lose? So far so good on people enjoying what we're doing. I mean, we've done some weird ingredients and so there was a pizza place in Philadelphia that asked us to do a house beer, and they kind of polled their customers as to what they would like to see as an ingredient, and they ended up saying basil, which makes sense for a pizza joint.
Yeah.
So we ran a 1-barrel batch of basil IPA, and it was a hit. And it turned out to be something that everybody who was coming in here was taking growlers of it. So we burned through it in no time. So 1 barrel is going to probably turn into 10-barrel batches very quickly. So that's just one example. Another one is a local Mexican restaurant asked us to do a house beer, and they wanted something that kind of led towards their house sour mix for their margaritas. So one of the beers that we're going to try today is Verano, and that's the beer that came out of that. So it's a citrus-based orange zest, lime zest ale, very light, very refreshing. That's another thing that came out here. So this system has given us the freedom to do whatever the hell we want and come up with some awesome things and give our customers something new every week. So yeah, we're really excited about it, and it's great, and it definitely gives us that that freedom and the outlet to showcase what we know.
Nice.
Another one that was really popular was the ginger pale ale we made. It's a pale ale brewed with basically fresh ginger. We throw it in at the end of the boil, and it's really, really refreshing.
So beyond these special places that you're brewing house beers for, where else can people find your beers on tap besides the tap room?
We're now starting to see a lot of new bars coming through, and it's getting to the point where we can't keep track.
Is it mainly the Lehigh Valley area? Or?
No, you can get our beers from Philly to Scranton, South Central PA, Harrisburg, York. Starting to see our beers out there. Pizza Boys had us on tap already, which we're really excited about. We love that place. So yeah, we're starting to see our beers out and about more out. So we basically have Eastern Pennsylvania. We're working on North Central, so we'll basically have half the state, hopefully by the end of the year, and possibly New Jersey.
So you're going to need to expand soon.
I hope so. I hope so.
You're going to run out of space here soon.
According to Philly Tap Finder, the Wicked White is on at Prohibition Tap Room in Philly.
Awesome.
I love that place.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Go and find it.
Go and find it.
Yeah, the Philly market does very well with us. You can find it quite often down there. You just have to look at one of these sites, Philly Tap Finder, or whatever your local watering hole is. Ask for our beer there. That's how we get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to have such a great distribution already, that's great.
Now, do you guys do any bottling? Do you like special bottle releases? You looking at doing any cans in the future? Any of that kind of stuff?
We are currently working on bottling. We hate to try to chase a date, but we're expecting within the next month or so. But again, I hate to chase a date.
If all goes well, yeah.
Even if I got to do it by hand like I'm doing now, I will have bottles out by the end of the year.
Nice.
If it kills me. But yeah, we're working on that, and we're gonna start with bottling. Canning is definitely in the back of our minds. It's a superior packaging. It's just getting to that point, and we'd like to have our own equipment to do that, and before we move forward with that.
Are you gonna bottle some of your standard beers, or are you gonna save them for special releases?
So. Some of the first things that are going to come out are going to be like our Hop Havoc. That's probably going to be the first thing to come out in bottles. You mentioned the barrels over here. The 4 barrels directly behind that fermenter are the first batch we ever brewed. on the new system.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
That will be coming out for our anniversary
I was just
party.
going to say, on your anniversary, right?
Our anniversary party for the tasting room. It's going to take place at the end of November, probably the weekend of the 21st, I believe it is. We will definitely have bottles available for sale that weekend, and it is once and done. You're getting the first batch. It'll never be brewed again. It's basically
That was one of those batches that was the adjustment batch.
Yeah, that was an adjustment batch.
Okay.
Our efficiencies were really high, so it's about 2% higher in alcohol than it should be.
Hey, better go up than down.
So, and it actually turned out to be a great English strong ale. So,
Nice, very nice. So we're going to have to come back and try that because now I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
So was speaking of the first batch you ever brewed, your English strong ale there. Was that the first like HiJinx beer in a commercial sense, or like
No.
what was your first?
so we released our first beers in 2012 as HiJinx, and we released an entire lineup.
Okay.
We came out with 6 beers.
I think so.
6 beers. One of my watering holes was gracious enough to let us do our release party there, and we did 6 beers there. But what is in those barrels and what it was supposed to be, which is Pitch Penny Ale, which is another beer we're going to try today. That was one of the first beers we released to the market. So it's that with 2% extra alcohol.
It's a slight variation.
Aged in bourbon barrels, so it's quite nice. We actually did sampled them last Thursday.
Yes.
Last Thursday, and the beers are delicious.
What do you know? What the ABV of that is?
It's going to be
As it
about
is, or was
7.5.
it gonna end up 7.5. Okay.
Which is actually pretty tolerable
So, yeah,
for a barrel aged
For a
beer.
barrel aged, yeah.
I visited the brewery this summer, and holy crap, they have beers on 15%, 18%.
No,
I'm like,
no.
ah. Yeah, I feel like I'm too old for beers that high in alcohol
They're
anymore.
nice to sip on, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have
Yeah.
Pitch Penny in the barrel, which we call Bourbon Barrel Bitter. We do have another barrel of that, and we might try to release that at about the same time, so you can get what really was supposed to happen and what did happen with the learning curve. So yeah, that should be fun. We'll try to do those in concert.
So do you guys have a style or a set of styles or that you guys are like really into, or do you kind of want to do like everything across the board? I mean, you mentioned sours, barrel aging.
You know, that's one of those
lagers
things that
eventually.
Chris and I go back and forth with it. I mean, he pigeonholes me, and he's partially right, but I'm more of an English style kind of English and Belgian.
Okay.
Where he's more of the IPAs and sours. I think we go kind of across the board.
Kind of whatever.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, you know,
we definitely
we've
like to
both brewed
experiment.
everything.
So, to have a wide selection, we always get the response like, "You have an ESB?" Like, yeah,
of course
we
we do.
definitely do. That's one of our best-selling beers. People love it. It fills a hole where that's not there, basically.
Right.
Because you have lots of IPAs out there, so those styles kind of fill the holes for the people that aren't necessarily into IPAs.
Which those people do exist.
Yes.
Contrary to popular belief.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
They do. Yeah, we hear it a lot.
Those people do
God,
exist.
you guys have something other than IPA. That's another thing I'd like to make mention of is our crew is all award-winning homebrewers and or certified or higher beer judges. Every single person except for our CFO.
Right.
But he gets a pass. He worked on Wall Street.
And he loves beer.
And he loves beer. He's a beer snob. I don't know, snob, beer geek.
Something like geek.
Um,
Geek's a good word.
geek.
Beer geek.
Not
That's a good
snob.
word.
So he
But-
takes care of all the work you don't want to have to worry about.
He keeps us in line.
Yeah,
We
tells us
need a
when we
CFO.
We do
tells
need
us,
to see it.
tells us what we can spend and what we can't spend.
Yeah.
Mostly what we can't spend.
But yeah, Dennis is an award-winning homebrewer. Brian's an award-winning homebrewer. Bob is an award-winning homebrewer. He's also a certified beer judge.
Are they all with the Lehigh Valley Homebrew
All
Club?
these guys are Lehigh Valley homebrewers.
Nice.
So all of us, every single one of us that works here, except for our CFO, is a member or was a member or officer of the Lehigh Valley Homebrewers.
That's awesome. A lot of good local talent there.
Yeah,
great,
for sure.
great guys. Actually, one of our volunteers, Dave Barber, was an Ninkasi winner.
Recently.
He's actually on tomorrow or tonight. He might be here tonight.
Very cool. Yeah, that was the year it was in NHC was in Philly.
That is
he
correct.
won.
Yep.
That was really awesome for the home crowd to have
Yeah.
like a a home winner. Good for
Home
him.
winner, yeah. Yeah, Dave's a great guy. He's definitely one of our backers. He's one of our volunteers. He puts a lot of time in. And, yeah, we love him.
Makes awesome beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes awesome
There's
beer.
that.
Yes.
So that's one of the other things I didn't mention about the home brewing system or the garage system is we are actually starting to bring in home brewers to do their recipes on our system, and then we'll sell it through the tasting room. That's one of the other things that I didn't mention. But so as much as we don't want to get involved in the pumpkin game,
Pumpkin peach ale.
yeah, pumpkin peach ale. Two of our home brewers, friends / former officers / volunteers, they are going to bring to the table their Imperial Pumpkin Mischief Night. It's already something we put out once already. We're bringing them in this year to do 2 barrels. That's it. So very limited supply of that, but the beer is amazing.
Nice.
So we're excited about that.
That sounds like fun. So do you only let Lehigh Valley homebrewers come in?
Nope. No. So one of the things
Steph, bring a beer.
that's one of those things that we're trying to figure out how to choose that. And we thought about competitions, but that kind of reflects poorly on us if we don't pick your beer and then you hate us. So that's not good for us. So basically we're going to let maybe a local homebrew competition or something like that decide. And when it goes to best of show, we're going to try to ask to sit in and kind of maybe do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what the right way to do that is, but there's so many good homebrewers out there.
Just make a waiting list.
Yeah. That could be a very long one.
Yep.
Again, there's a lot of great brewers around here. I mean, I've judged a number of competitions. Chris has judged a number of competitions. The homebrewers are making awesome beer.
Yeah, I mean, every beer festival we go to, they're the hit of the festival. Everyone talks about them.
That's because they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's just
It is an
their
advantage,
40,
yes.
50 bucks they spend at the homebrew store, and they can go wild. Where, when it's your business, you do have to have a little bit of restraint and control and know what the people are going to drink.
We try.
We try to.
We don't always adhere to that.
You have the fun system, which is good.
It's
and I
funny
love
though
that.
because you said earlier about the 1-barrel system. It's 1 barrel. Who cares? And it's a big difference when you have a 1-barrel system next to a 10 barrel than when you're in your garage and that's your system.
Yeah.
True.
Then a barrel is a lot more.
I just have to mention Milo is finally getting food.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, we have another dog sitting in sort of on the podcast today, Milo.
Our third dog on the
The
podcast.
look he gave you when you said that.
I don't know. I didn't. Was it leave me alone? I'm eating.
Pretty much.
Basically.
It's like, what the hell, man? Come on.
No comment.
So should we drink some beers?
Why don't we drink some beers?
All right,
All
sounds
right,
good.
let's do it.
All right, so I like what we're starting off with because this is what I've been talking about the whole time. So we are starting off with a Wicked White, and I love. Oh, this beer was so good. I love
This
the
is
smell of it
delicious,
and everything. It smells perfect. It looks just the way I'd want it to look. It tastes phenomenal. Oh, sorry, I really like this beer.
Thank you.
Nice and pale and cloudy, and I like that it has the yeasty, biscuity.
Hey,
Speaking of biscuits,
Brady sucks.
Brady sucks.
Whatever.
But it
Shout
also
out
does,
to you, Biscuit.
It has that nice citrus sort of zing to it. It's
and
very well
the
balanced.
spiciness of the coriander and the finish is very. So this is, I don't know if you said it, it's a Belgian style wit beer.
Yes,
and
there
this
we
is
go.
a very new release for you guys. Correct?
It is. It happened to come out once before we were even licensed. We went to a festival and it got some exposure, but this is the first official release of it. Within the last week.
So our distributor has had it for maybe 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
So it's very new for us.
It's so refreshing, and I know you love Belgian beers, but I love all beers, but Belgians are probably
Least favorite?
kind of. I don't want to say least favorite because I do like them.
Because they're not spicy enough.
Well, that's true. If you put a Chipotle or something in a Belgian beer, maybe I'd like them. But
We'll keep that in mind. 1-barrel system.
One-barrel
hey, I'm
system.
here. Chili, maybe ghost peppers or scorpion chilies.
No.
This isn't spelled out.
We can accommodate.
Yes.
But
for sure.
what I'm trying to say is typically the thing I don't like about Belgian beers is that really thick, sickening sweet finish that they have where the beer stays with you. But you get that nice sweetness, but it finishes very dry and clean. And
Yeah.
it's very refreshing for a Belgian-style ale.
And I like that
It's
it only
good.
comes in at 5% for
Yeah.
ABV. It's
Yep.
something that you can have multiples of, and it's not going to kill you.
And it's also very light and refreshing and good for like summertime weather, but at the same time it has like a robust body to it, a nice smooth, but
Yeah.
still like
I had
it's got
I brought some tofu tacos
meat.
with because the food truck that's here meat
Is meat.
It's
is meat,
right
meat,
up our
meat.
alley.
So, and I enjoyed a
Meat.
pint of this with the tacos, and it lived up to the food. It paired really nicely, and yeah, it's a really good beer. Good job, guys. So,
Thank
which
you very
one of
much.
you? Whose recipe?
This is one that I had a national win with.
This is the national win. Curt's national win. All right. Well, it's good. I can see why.
Yeah, I'm more of a traditionalist, where Chris is more willing to get crazy. But this is my take on what I assume to be the traditional Belgian-style wit beer. Drinking things like Death Valley and Avery and Allagash and Celis, and then you get into some of the more commercial stuff like Hoegaarden or Blanche de Brussels, and kind of taking all those things into account, and this is what I came up with. Trying to get that smooth, creamy palate, but still be crisp and refreshing at the same time, and that's kind of and balancing the spice and the citrus. I find, me personally, I don't care for overly spiced beers, and especially in this style, I think it's kind of supposed to be very drinkable.
Yeah.
So this is just my vision.
And let the yeast,
my opinion.
Let the yeast speak.
Yeah.
Especially
there's-
those Belgian yeast strains.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Have so much flavor
When
on
it
their own.
when it comes to all those spices, less is definitely more. This is exactly what I would want if I wanted to have something like this. This, yeah, you know what I mean. No, but this is exactly
This is
what
my
I'd
favorite
want.
beer that I'm drinking at the moment.
It's exactly what I'd
if
want
I
out of
wanted
a
a
wit
beer right now, this is the beer that I would want to be drinking right now.
Well, that's usually any beer in my hand.
No, but it's exactly what I want out of a wit beer.
I want to know why it's called Wicked White.
I was going to be another one of my questions.
So HiJinx. I mean, our whole crew, our whole mentality, everything about us is kind of fun and mischievous, and Wicked was just kind of one of those. You think about somebody who's mischievous and they have the wicked thoughts of how they're going to prank the dude next week. And that's we just kind of sitting around drinking and pondering how we're going to be mischievous next week.
It's also shorter than premeditated malice.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yes.
We might come up with one of those names one of these days, but I think we're going to stick with the alliteration here of Wicked White.
I feel
Simple.
like that name would be something more dark and deep and higher in
Actually,
alcohol.
I like that. I'm going to remember that. Premeditated malice.
Is that going to be on
Imperial barrel aged.
the next libation or
He'll wait
fabrication?
like 6
Barley
episodes.
wine.
Until we
Barley wine,
completely
yeah, it's
forget
gonna be
this
a barley wine.
conversation.
Malicious intent. How about
Malicious
that
intent.
one? You like
They
that
could
one?
be it could be the steal your face stout with the ghost peppers.
No.
Yes.
You wouldn't know.
How about Reapers? We go Carolina Reapers on that one.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll
Dan is crying.
I'll sip it.
I'll try
I'll
it.
try
but,
it,
You know,
but-
to be fair though, I think I don't think I hate spicy beer as much as I think I do.
You're full
I
of
got you to like sour
paradoxical
beers.
statements
I'll
right
get
now.
you to like spicy beers.
We could probably test that tonight.
Yeah, we got some Reaper sauce here.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
It's great with mango and IPA. Just saying.
I'm in.
Let's give it a shot.
Only
Why not?
after we've tried all the beers. 'Cause
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
we'll
like,
get the
I'd like
very
to
end.
taste.
Don't want to fry
Yeah.
your palate.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'd like to taste the beer.
Moving right along.
Moving right along, indeed. So we've got the Verano in front of us.
Ooh.
What's up with the name of this one, the Verano? Where'd that come from?
So Verano is
Verano.
Spanish for summer.
Oh, hey, easy
I
enough.
knew I recognized that word from somewhere.
So this beer is,
Thank you,
to
high
me,
school.
summer. This beer was
Ooh.
actually developed for a local Mexican restaurant that had approached us about doing a house beer. Torre, which is a Mexican restaurant in the Promenade Shop, so shameless plug for them. But great beer. We really enjoyed making this, and it was kind of modeled after their margarita mix. So we did the whole citrus, the orange zest, lime zest, agave syrup to give it a kind of a back-end dryness, but this is what we came up with ultimately.
it's very good. The lime really comes through, but without being like too much.
Yeah.
But I'm really getting a lot of lime out of it. And
The
it's very
orange
nice.
and the lime together are nice. It's a nice balance.
Yeah, it's not to me. It's not an overly bitey citrus, and I think that's the orange and the lime together. Kind of the interplay between the two kind of smooth out that citrus profile. It gives you a smooth citrus profile. It's not a punch of bitter lime or a super sweet orange. It's kind of a balance between the two.
And it definitely makes me want some Mexican food.
Yeah, I want some I want chips and salsa right now.
Well, you already had tacos.
I know. I
so-
should have saved some of my chips.
It is very summery too, though. It is
Yeah, it's a
great.
very crisp, clean beer. Very easy drinking. Good sitting by the pool beer. Or doing whatever you want to do outside in the summer.
Or doing a
outside
Beer
summer.
Busters podcast.
Well, Beer Busters podcast in August.
But we're inside, thank
We are
God.
inside, yes.
It's very nice. So speaking of being inside, you guys are not the only alcohol producer in this complex.
No, we're not.
It's like Alcohol Alley of Allentown.
Yeah, this is this building, which used to be a Mack Trucks facility. This building was built in 1919, 1920, somewhere about 1920.
Say
we'll call
circa
it that.
1920.
Circa 1920. It became a small business incubator for manufacturers in the late 80s. And recently it's turned from a small business incubator to a small business fermenter.
I see what you did there.
You like that? That was good, right?
Wow.
So Colony Meadery, so they're our neighbors. They make a fermented honey beverage, honey wine, but they don't like when you call it that. And oh boy, the mead maker just walked in. We have County Seat Distilling down the hall, and they do gin, vodka, rum. They're going to be releasing their bourbon soon.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll probably be December, January.
Yeah, I think that's what they said.
They started, they barreled it in December, so they're saying about a year.
So it's kind of a one-stop shop for your booze, and your liver takes a beating while you're here.
Yeah, well,
Have any collaborations happened or are
It's in the works.
Yeah.
It's in the
That's
works.
awesome, yeah.
Ooh, I can imagine if they do their bourbon, you could use some of their bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
It looks right up your alley.
So I'll give you
Definitely.
a little sneak peek of what we're talking about,
sneak peek.
and
You heard it here first.
yeah, one of the things
Breaking
one of the things we're talking about is having a bourbon barrel brought over here, aging a beer, sending that barrel to the meadery, them aging mead, coming back here, aging beer, and having that beer distilled.
Whoa.
whoa,
Whoa.
That's like some
It's a little
Inception
complicated.
shit right
I was
there.
going to say, it's like beerception.
But we want to try to infuse everything. The other thing we talked about is possibly doing a braggot, barrel aging it, and then having the braggot distilled.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
Nice.
that's the simplified thing.
I like the complicated one.
I
And
did
then you
too,
could do
but
a plate though of the mead, the beer,
Yeah. Oh,
and then
yeah.
the spirit. Like try
yes,
them all. That would
without
be
a
amazing.
doubt.
Have like a beer within a beer.
You kind of have to go to each
Within a barrel.
Within a
establishment to do
distilled,
that. but-
distilled.
Oh yeah, I guess
Within a
it's
whiskey.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
You
something.
can't do it all in one.
You got to be careful
a
about how you
traveling
do
plate.
that. Yeah, you have to travel from
Here, have your little beer sample here. Quick, go across the hall. Have your mead sample here.
because of
Go
that.
down the hall.
If you meet in the middle, I think it's fine.
Is it legal if you do it in the hallway?
You do it in all.
You
If you
need-
sneak
If
your
you meet
products
in the
out
hall.
of our establishments, it's not my fault.
Yeah, we don't-
I
we don't
guess
know.
it kind of is.
That actually, I was going to ask. That's an interesting point. As far as like the legal sort of hurdles and contortions, I'm sure you have to do to have all of those things.
We are all
In the
separate
same-
businesses.
yeah,
We've all
they're
had to go
all-
through licensing,
yeah.
and we're
Just
all
buy a
separate
bottle at
entities.
each place and do it at home.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the safe way to go.
Bitches.
Yeah. I imagine
For
it-
us.
For us.
it's a little easier because like there is a distinct separation of
Yeah.
space.
Well,
between
when
each
we were
one.
at Bucks County, they had the place right across the hall from them, and that was apparently a legal nightmare to get through.
Yeah, it's
they
just-
had to build a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Because-
same at the brewery at Hershey with the vineyard
wi-
there
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And the winery, yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
all
there's
separate entities.
in Lancaster, Whacker Brewing
That's right.
is in the
Yep.
same facility as Thistlefinch. So that it's Whacker. Kurt just went all Beavis on us. Anyway,
Oh my.
this beer's good.
Sorry,
Back to
beer
beer.
does that to me.
It does that.
So this is another one I like the name of, the Kung Fu Gnome.
Kung Fu no.
So where did this name come from?
Night of drinking.
I'm
sure.
I mean,
That's
there-
right.
there's
That's
a
where
trend.
this recipe came from, too.
Oh yeah. So the original concept was, I believe, honeysuckle, And Chris and I sat at his kitchen bar for a few hours and did a bunch of tinctures with all different herbs and flowers, and we're just kind of playing around. And originally the thought was a Belgian blonde ale with honeysuckle. Well, that was one of the first things we tried, and it sucked. Honeysuckle only translates if you have it fresh, and somebody goes out and picks bags and bags of it. So, of all the things we tried that night, dried, we came across jasmine, and it just popped. It was such a fresh taste. It was just enough that it wasn't going to overpower the beer. So Belgian blonde ale with jasmine flowers. But Kung Fu Gnome, the name, was a night of excessive drinking.
Yes,
and it was,
sure.
Jasmine. You think Chinese food. You go to a Chinese restaurant, you get jasmine tea. So that was the Kung Fu part. The gnome part. Originally, my name concept was Kung Fu Shoof. A cease and desist letter from Brasserie Shoof would have been kind of fun to hang on the wall, but
we knew it was coming.
That happened. The legal battle I wanted to avoid. So gnome it was.
All right.
Fair enough.
I do like the way the jasmine blends in with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not overpowering.
Not at all.
It's very nice and subtle.
Sometimes it can be perfumey, but it's nice. You get it, but it's not. The beer still shines.
Yeah.
And by the way, Brasserie Shoof, we love you.
It's the highest form of flattery.
Stealing their name.
Stealing their name. Yes.
I feel like we should play a game while I still have beer in my glass.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we can do that before we...
Yeah, let's do that. Wayne, let me know when you're ready. If you're ready, I can start the music. If not, I'm just going to keep talking.
Vamping, as they call it.
Vamping, yes. Vamping in the industry. In
the parlance of the industry.
Biz.
In the biz.
I think I'm ready.
The biz. B-I-Z.
Is that anything like vaping?
Oh, it could be. It could be.
It's
all
very
eyes,
close. Very
all
close.
eyes on you. All right, well, here we are. Oh, Wayne, even for you.
Oh, wait. Oh,
Yes.
The new one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not so new anymore, but...
No, I like this one.
It's
This is
my
like
favorite.
the one now.
All right.
I'm feeling the groove now. Welcome, people of the Podcastiverse, to another performance-enhancing edition of Happy Fun Time Games, the only podcast trivia segment endorsed by the United Federation of Planets. Today, we return to a game that delves into the world of Reinheitsgebot-busting brews, with a look
15-16.
at beer with sometimes intriguing, sometimes ridiculous, sometimes disgusting, but always unusual ingredients in There's Weird in My Beer. I will give you the name of a beer and a brief description, and you will have to tell me, thankfully from a list of multiple choice options, what the unusual ingredient in that beer is. And we will begin, as always, to my left with Dan, and our first beer today is called Snorkel. This is a 4.5% ABV wild ale from Jester King in Austin, Texas. It's partially inspired by a traditional German Gose, and it's brewed with malted wheat, sea salt, and another locally sourced ingredient that gives the brew a savory twist. Is that ingredient zucchini, mushrooms, or sea monkeys?
I so want it to be sea monkeys.
I'll put my money.
What was the first choice?
Zucchini,
Zucchini, and then
mushrooms,
mushrooms or sea monkeys.
sea monkeys.
What's the name of the beer?
The beer is called Snorkel.
Mushrooms.
Dan is going with mushrooms. Chris, which one do you think it is?
Mushrooms.
I think it's sea monkeys.
You think it's sea monkeys? All right, going with sea monkeys. Steph,
I'm going to say zucchini.
you're going to say zucchini,
Because no
all
one
right?
said it yet.
All right, everybody all over the board here. Kurt, what do you think?
I'm going sea monkeys.
You're going sea monkeys as well. Well, surprisingly, the only one who was right is to my left, Dan, because the answer is, in fact, mushrooms.
Why is it mushrooms?
The beer is brewed
Well,
with
it has
oyster
to do with-
mushrooms.
It would kind of go with saltiness.
It was grown
oyster mushrooms.
oyster mushrooms. Grown
Tricky.
at Lagro Farms, which is located just a few hundred yards from the brewery. The farm uses spent grains from Jester King to sustainably grow oyster mushrooms, and Snorkel brings that relationship full circle by putting the mushrooms in a beer.
Dan
Next.
looks disgusted.
Moving on to
I
our
hate
I know you hate mushrooms.
They're
I love
so
mushrooms.
good.
No, they're
Mushrooms
not.
are
They're so
delicious.
good.
You might like the ingredient in our next beer.
Ooh.
Chris is going to guess first
I'm
on
going to
this
say
one.
bacon.
I will give you a hint. It is not bacon. This beer is called Carver. It's a crisp, refreshing lager from Full Steam Brewery in Durham, North Carolina. It's a tribute to Dr. George Washington Carver. It's savory and earthy and brewed with North Carolina's most prized crop and a passion of the aforementioned Dr. Carver. Is that peanuts, sweet potatoes, or epic mustaches?
Going with sweet potatoes.
Going with sweet potatoes, says Chris. Steph, what do you think it is?
Sweet potatoes.
Steph is agreeing with sweet potatoes. Kurt?
Peanuts.
Peanuts. Oh, breaking the trend, going with peanuts. Finally, Dan.
I was always under the impression peanuts would not work so well in beer. I'm gonna go.
I'm twirling my epic mustache.
So is peanuts what or epic mustaches?
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet
is the
potato.
other
I'm gonna go sweet potatoes.
You're gonna go sweet potatoes. The only one wrong was Kurt because the answer is in fact sweet potatoes. Carver is made with 200 pounds of North Carolina sweet potatoes, and they are keen to note precisely 0 pie spices. North Carolina is the nation's largest producer of the crop, and while the beer namesake, Dr. Carter, is better known for working with peanuts, he was also passionate about the sweet potato.
It's a trick question.
I went logic.
You went logic. I defy logic.
That is true.
We're moving on to our third and final beer of the game, and Steph is going to go first on this one, and this beer is a beer that was formerly known as There Will Be Stout. From Martin House Brewing in Fort Worth, Texas, this brew has a new name that would give away the answer, so it must remain unspoken for the moment. It's a 6.5% black as oil stout boasting sweet and roasty flavors balanced with a salty fingerprint provided by the unique addition of, is it pickles, pretzels, or the brewer's foot sweat?
Oh, come on.
Well, we've had beard yeast before.
Yeah.
Beard beer.
Beard beer.
None of this sounds good.
I want to make a pickle beer. I haven't found a brewer that will make a pickle beer with me yet, so I'm going to say pretzels.
You're going to say pretzels. Okay. Kurt, what do you think it is?
I'm going with her on pretzels.
You going agreeing with pretzels? Okay, Dan?
Yeah, why not? Pretzels.
Why not pretzels? They're making me thirsty. Chris?
And let's do with foot sweat.
You're going to go with foot sweat. Chris, you are incorrect. Everyone else is right. It is, in fact, pretzels. It is now called simply Pretzel Stout.
Oh.
The beer is made with 6 pounds of crushed sourdough pretzels per barrel. Their salty character works with the sweet and roasty flavors of the chocolate malt and roasted barley to give this beer a flavor that is much greater than the sum of its parts and better than foot sweat. So we're going to add up the points real quick and see who our big winner is today. And my God, ladies and gentlemen, do you believe in miracles? Because we have just witnessed one tonight. Our big winner tonight, to my left, my very own brother Dan, with a perfect score. A perfect score of
Cheater.
3 points. Coming in second place with 2 points, respectably enough, is Steph. And unfortunately, our two guests tonight sit at the bottom of the barrel with 1 point apiece.
To Dan the Wiener.
All right. I don't know how that happened. Well, in that vein, let's learn something.
No. Know your beers.
And Steph.
During this installment of Know Your Beer, we're going to talk about one of my favorite days of the year, Zwanze Day, or Zwanze Day, whatever your preferred pronunciation of the word is. Cantillon Zwanze series of beers and events began back in 2008 with a bottling of a special lambic made with rhubarb.
Wasn't this Billy Corgan's band after Smashing Pumpkins?
I don't know. That would be a
way
question.
to kill the mood, Dan.
I know,
what I
right? Since then, Cantillon brewer Jean Vanois has used his Zwanze series and the celebration days to bring lambic enthusiasts together around the world. Cantillon's website notes that the word Zwanze, or Zwanze, is the Brussels dialect referring to a semi-sarcastic style of humor. That sense of humor is often reflected in the experimental nature of the beers, which are not always the most traditional of lambics. In the Flemish dialect, the verb zwanzen means to joke or to kid, and this has been reflected in some of the stories associated with the Zwanze beers over time. Zwanze 2015 is Cantillon's interpretation of a spontaneously fermented stout. Also called Wild Brussels Stout, the beer was brewed in March of 2013 and was potentially...
I just got that.
You got it. And was potentially a candidate to be served for Zwanze Day 2014, but it was held till this year. This year's Zwanze Day will take place on Saturday, September 19th, 2015, and you can find a complete list of locations around the world that will serve the beer on Cantillon's website. This year, the brew will be available in 26 American bars, including some of our favorites, Church Key in Washington, D.C., Fool's Gold in Manhattan, Hill Farmstead Brewery in Greensboro, Vermont, Lord Hobo in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Monk's Cafe, of course, in Philly, Russian River in Santa Rosa, California, The Birch, where I had it last year, in Norfolk, Virginia, and The Trappist in Oakland, California.
Gonna have to get our hands on that.
I was very lucky. I got the second to last ticket.
Wow.
At the Birch, because we were in town and it started early in the morning and we were 2 blocks from the Birch. And I said, we'll go by and see if there's any left. So I snuck in, I went up to the bar and I said, do you have any tickets left? And she's like, I have 2 left. Do you want them? And there was a guy right next to me and I'm like, I'll take one, give him the other one. So I was nice. I bought one.
We're going to send Kevin Keller to get this beer.
I might be in Virginia again that weekend, so.
Point of interest, if anybody cares, September 19th,
Did you
Zwanze
know?
Day, is also the premiere of Series 9 of Doctor Who.
Oh, good to know.
So
that's also
knows.
1 week before Popeageddon.
Popeageddon.
Poor Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, you can always come and stay with me and get out of Philly.
Thank you. If work is by some odd miracle closed, then yeah.
Popeageddon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to suck.
Yeah.
They're building like an 80-foot wall around the entire city of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Guards with rifles and everything.
You know, it's just an excuse.
Not letting
man.
anyone out.
They're not going to take it back down. This is just an excuse.
No, you can get out. You just can't get back in.
You
For
can check
real.
out anytime
That's like
you want,
going to
but
New
you can never
Jersey.
leave.
It's exactly, just going to say the same thing.
The Hotel California.
It's like New Jersey and the Hotel
No,
California.
you can get back in. You just have to pay.
Well, that's true.
Like, you're the idiot that wanted to go to Jersey. Now give us your money if you want to come back.
Spellbound, we love you.
We do love Spellbound. And Flying Fish.
And Flying Fish with rockin' tuna gravy sauce.
Yeah, our second New Jersey recording coming up in a few months.
Yeah,
Flying
should be
Fish.
fun.
Should be fun.
Well, I think we should concentrate on the
More
brewery
beer.
we're currently at, so why don't we do...
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
Well, now we've got in front of us the Pitch Penny Ale, and I'm very excited because the smell, the aroma of this one is phenomenal. And I'm looking at the ABV of it, knowing that it's 5.5, the aroma doesn't speak to 5.5. I kind of like it. It smells like it would be heavier than that.
Yeah, it's kind of rich. So this is this was something that I developed. I don't know. This is probably 20 years ago. Yeah, one of my original homebrew recipes that has.
Oh, is that what that was?
I was wondering myself. Here's my phone.
Your vape is vibrating.
I've
Doubles
tweaked.
or
I've tweaked.
something
Yeah. Shh. Dude, my wife's right over there. I've
Okay, do
things
over.
are going downhill. That might hit the outtakes.
Remember, you never spiral up.
Yeah, this was a beer that I developed probably when I first started homebrewing. Fuller's ESB was one of my favorite beers at the time, and still is definitely a very drinkable ESB. Over the years, it's gotten more rich and malty, and a little bit more. I bastardized it a little bit, and got to I call it my Friday night beer. I got to a beer that was sessionable, but full of flavor. So it is the traditional English extra special bitter with a little bit more body and a little bit more flavor than your Fuller's ESB.
It's super satisfying.
Yeah.
Very
It's
satisfying.
like the caramelly goodness of this beer. It's like you want to swim in it.
I almost got like a butterscotch flavor out of it too.
Like, do you ever watch the show The Last Man on Earth or whatever that's
Yes.
called?
Yeah, it was good.
And he's in the kiddie pool with the margarita mix.
This is what you
like
want in the
I
kiddie
want to
pool?
be in the kiddie pool with this beer. It's so good. You
Sounds
could
like a fun
drink.
time.
You could drink a kiddie pool full of it.
Knowing
I
that
would
it's
try.
5.5, yes, you could.
It's good.
It is delicious, and it is like you said, like it's got a lot of character and a lot going on, and bold flavor, but it's still very drinkable, and
And it cleans up after itself
it hashtag cleans up after itself,
completely.
and only 5.5, and it's delicious, and I love it.
Yeah, it definitely finishes dry enough
And
to
I
give
want
you
some
that.
bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash.
I was thinking like
Appropriate.
shepherd's pie. So this was what you attempted to brew the first time on the new system.
That's correct.
Yes.
This is that
This
beer.
is what is going to be learning curve.
The descendant of what's sitting in the barrels over there.
Yes.
Nice.
Learning curve is the name of that beer over there.
Very
So-
apt.
Does it have the caramelly goodness that this
It
one
has the caramelly goodness with 2% extra alcohol.
Nice. The bourbon in the caramel, I bet.
Ooh.
I'm so excited to bring this beer out. I'm smitten.
Are there any other Imperial ESBs that are barrel aged? This could be a first.
That is a pretty unique.
Heck if I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure, it's called something else at that point.
I feel like
English strong ale. Barrel aged.
Barrel aged English strong ale. Yes. Just by the aroma alone. I mean, it's got that nice like just imagining if there was a little hint of bourbon in here as well.
and a little bit of vanilla.
And a little vanilla. Oh, it'd be
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, you definitely get the vanilla too because it's a year in the barrel, so
Yeah.
it really brings that out.
I think maybe we could pop the cork on one of those and pull a sample.
I was hoping you would say that.
Possibly.
I did tell you there'd be some surprises.
I
So.
like surprises.
Surprises.
This is really, really, really good.
I think maybe now would be a good time to do that.
Oh.
I mean, it's entirely
should
up
we
to
do
you guys. We don't want to impose or anything.
But
But
just
it would be like the
Just
most
saying.
awesome thing that could possibly happen right now.
There's a nice pause button on this podcast that we can walk away and do that.
Yeah, and it would be a good time for me to actually go to the bathroom now.
All right, let's do this.
Breaking news.
We have the learning curve in front of us right now.
Woo!
So
Fresh
there's-
out the barrel.
There's a cool video if you go to our Facebook page that Wayne filmed and posted very quickly on his fancy new phone.
I think it worked.
It hopefully worked. There may or may not be a video on our Facebook
There are
page.
definitely pictures, though.
Yes, at least pictures. But the smell of this just smells so wonderful. Oh, it smells so great. The bourbon is so there.
Yeah.
And it's 7.5%. Is that what we? Whew.
Yep,
Correct.
7.5%.
I like that. Normally your bourbon barrel aged ones come out a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad there's one under 10.
I concur.
It happens.
Wholeheartedly concur.
Did you drink it?
I did.
Wayne took a sip.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good sign. All right, here we go.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
Wow.
oh,
Now again, keep in mind,
Ooh.
right out of the barrel, no carbonation.
oh. It
That's
doesn't
quite
need
all right. It doesn't need it.
carbonation.
Yep.
It is delicious. I don't even want to swallow it when I
Yeah.
drink it. Like I just want
It's
to
so
keep it in
good.
my mouth. It's really
The
good.
vanilla, the woodiness, the oak, the bourbon. You still get the caramel.
You do.
That's a great beer.
So this will be released during our anniversary weekend, and like I said, this is one and done. Obviously, we can't recreate the first batch ever again. First is first.
And it's only 4 barrels, right?
Let's call it 5 barrels total that will be available, and some of that is going to be put away for anniversaries future,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then there'll be a small release for our first anniversary weekend here at Tasting Room.
Get here and get it, people.
Yes.
It's so
I would
good.
really like to come to your second anniversary and have it out of the barrel, but celery
We need
free
to buy a bottle
'cause
at
that
the
would
first
be- yeah,
anniversary, yeah, and then save it.
because I imagine this would age exquisitely.
Yeah.
Exquisitely.
Exquisitely.
Compare it another year in the bottle to another year in the barrel.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We're planning too far ahead right now.
We are.
It's never too soon to start planning when beer is involved.
And I do like the relatively low ABV
Yeah.
for
Yes.
a bourbon barrel.
There's a really
Aged
nice
beer
like
and,
sweetness at the beginning of it too.
It's that caramel from the English ale and
Yeah.
then the vanilla from the barrel.
So we're
Yeah.
pushing probably 10, 11 months on this beer being in the barrel.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, because fermentation time was a month, maybe. and
maybe a
then
month.
We put it in barrel, so yeah, we're getting close to 11 months in barrel.
Was the original plan to put it in barrels, or did
Negative.
you just do that
Nope.
because of the efficiency?
Well,
This was wow, we can't do anything with this other than make a new beer.
yeah, we couldn't put this out as pitch penny ale because then people would be expecting this all the time for pitch
Right,
penny ale.
right.
So we're like, let's figure out something to do with this quick. We got to get it out of the fermenter. Like, let's find some bourbon barrels. Sounds like a good idea.
And there you go.
Wow. Well, that was a happy accident. For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, okay, now quick, do it again. Do it again. Well, I meant brew the beer, but the fist pump works too.
And no, but maybe we should do this every year. But now we have to go back to that first recipe and way over amp our.
Figure out how it works again.
Wow. And I love that it's served in like a medicine cup sized sampler glass.
This is all the medicine I ever need.
Yeah, that's the kind of medicine I want.
So I lost track. What are we drinking now?
Hop Havoc.
All right.
Ooh.
Now, is this reminiscent of the first IPA that you have ever brewed, Chris, or is this totally different?
No,
Okay.
no, totally different.
Okay.
This is a 8% IPA, so obviously getting closer to a double IPA in alcohol
You can't
content.
see the quotation marks around
The
the
air quotes.
IPA, yeah.
But only 65 IBUs, so more of an IPA IBU with the 8% alcohol.
Right.
It's very hoppy in the aroma. It's but like not in a not an offensive hoppy aroma.
It's
offensive.
not offensive.
It's not
That's an
offensive.
interesting way to put it.
I'm sure you've smelled IPAs that are like, wow,
There are
this
some
is
that you're
way
like, oh
too
my
hoppy.
god, the inside of my nose is melting.
Right.
Yes. And this is not one of them.
This is where Chris and I kind of differ a little bit, and it's not about IPA. It's about hop aromas and flavors. And Chris is into the more mosaic and some of the caddy hops, and I say that because some of those
Simcoe.
it's like
Yeah. I like caddy hops.
litter box.
I do, yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're not good, and I enjoy them. And he's getting me into doing them. But he's going to be brewing them. Everybody likes them. I say go for it.
So this is your IPA.
This is kind of mine, citrusy,
more melony and
melon,
citrus.
yeah.
It is very
More
melony.
fruity.
Yeah.
I get a little bit
Grapefruity.
of grapefruit and like underripe peach, like a tart peach. This is the kind of hop profile I like. Some of the old school, I call it old school.
Old school IPA. I like
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Yeah,
So we use,
But if it was old school, wouldn't it be closer to like 6%?
Yes, but this is, and that's why I
It's
said
an imperial old school
the
IPA.
quotation marks around IPA because it is 8%. It's a double IPA and alcohol, but I don't know.
Call it a 1.5 IPA.
Calling it IPA point 1.5.
That's what we originally said.
That's
but
what
we
we
didn't know how that would get. How people would get it.
It could be a capital I, lowercase I, PA.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
That's pretty good. I like that.
We may be overthinking this.
No, never.
We
It
just called
happens
it Hop
over
Havoc.
beers. Yeah, we call it Hop Havoc.
That works too.
It's good. This would be great in a can. I know you talked about bottling and canning in the way future, but in a can. Thank you. This would be great in a can.
I like the combination of the IPA IBUs with the double IPA ABV. It's a nice. I think it's better than the other way around.
Because it doesn't kill
I
your
agree.
palate then.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So when we look at our tasting sheets, when we do a tasting, we try to put this at the end or right before the end. So I know our next beer is the stout, and we do it in this order: Hop Havoc, then the stout, because the stout's like dessert, but this can overwhelm your palate. In comparison to other beers. Now, I'm not saying ours is the biggest, baddest IPA. I'd like it. I think it's drinkable. I think it's a sessionable, if that's possible, a sessionable IPA.
In flavor, if not.
Yeah,
yes.
it's something you can drink more than two of and not
Yeah.
want to scratch your tongue off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But-
doesn't leave because it doesn't leave a lingering like I just smoked a cigar.
Yeah,
Bitterness.
Well stated. Well stated.
So this one goes great with mango and habanero.
I imagine it would.
Oh, a
I
little
imagine it
preface. So the Verano that we had,
Yes.
the Mexican restaurant that we kind of developed that for, we talked about doing a series of beers, house beers, seasonally. And one of the things we do here, and I think we'll be able to get some samples of it, but we use a French press here. We use a coffee press to do infusions. But we do mango and habanero in the Hop Havoc. And that is something we're going to be doing for this restaurant eventually.
Oh, that's cool.
So all
It's
the
pretty
time.
badass. Yeah. Well, we're gonna be probably moving that to the big system eventually.
Yes. That would be great in a can.
It would. And I actually
As
have
well.
the infusion. They just need to add some beer to it. I put it in last night.
Oh no!
And in order to not tear up your palate, I used what's called an ají dulce pepper.
Ah, boo.
Hold on, don't worry. There's
my.
there's a Trinidad scorpion in there,
All right, good.
but
That just sounds bad. That's
It's-
so
I've
painful.
never experienced pepper snobbery. This is new.
but apparently there's 3 chili heads at this end of the table. Because Chris and I both grow all of them, but we used the ají dulce, which is a habanero. It has all the smell, all the aroma. I'm sorry, all the aroma, all the flavor, 0 heat of
Really?
a habanero.
Why?
Like zero, literally
That makes
zero,
no
or
sense
just like
to me.
not
But
very
again,
hot?
it's
Like
you
nothing,
know,
nothing. Wow, like
No
no capsaicin,
like there's some people detect a tiny tinge of
but it's not.
And
Spice.
it depends on the year. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're hotter than others.
drier or wetter
Others
year.
like-
Yeah.
But no,
Like next to nothing.
correct.
Wow.
Like way lower than jalapeno.
Let's remember this, Dan.
Okay.
Actually, jalapenos I can do.
Yeah, I had a sandwich with jalapenos.
I
yesterday.
like I like to try spicy things, like for the experience, but
And then I
can't,
finish it.
I can't handle like more than just a bit. And I'm like, oh my god.
So we use that and the Trinidad Scorpion. So you'll get all the heat that you want, but you'll get all the pepper flavor without the heat.
Right.
And the mango just kind of works. We use freeze-dried mango in our infusion, but normally we use a frozen mango. We'll buy fresh mango, freeze it, break down, kind of makes everything meld together. But usually that's the way it goes. And amazing beer. We're really enjoying it. Everybody's enjoying it, and I don't know how we're going to do it just yet when we go to full production, but
To figure it out.
yeah,
One
'cause
way
we
or
want to
another.
reproduce this flavor, and that's the trick. So
Well, if you need
everybody's got an empty glass. I
if
think
you
we
need
can do
people
that.
to consume the test batches, I'm your woman.
I'm very excited for this one. This is the Steal Your Face Stout, which I like. I already like the aroma of. I took a quick quick sniff.
Truth in advertising, if I still have a face after drinking this, I'm going to be disappointed.
fair enough,
No, it is really good.
then a fail. But, well, it depends how many you drink.
Okay.
Fair.
There's the
If
disclaimer.
your glass keeps getting refilled, then
Yes.
When you look in the mirror, you won't have a face.
That's my problem.
I believe
with
our
this
grand
beer.
opening party, I lost my face.
My problem with this beer is it does not taste like 10%.
It does not at all. I
It
might
is
I
a
might give it like
nasty little
7,
bugger.
8 if I'm being really generous, but it does not taste like 10.
It goes down way too easy. Oh, another fist bump.
Yeah, one of the things we pride ourselves on is when we do these big beers.
is
I
we'll
mean,
get you drunk.
We'll,
No.
we'll get you drunk, and we'll make sure you
don't taste it.
don't taste that you're getting drunk. Yeah, we try to keep the alcohol subdued. I mean, I don't want to drink a boozy beer unless, when I drink bourbon barrel beer, I expect a little booze. But on just a barley wine or an imperial stout, I mean, yeah, they're high alcohol styles, but they don't need to taste like vodka, and they don't. And this is 10%.
It
love.
really doesn't taste 10%.
It
I
does
just
not,
had a
no.
sip of it. You're right. It,
Yeah.
it really doesn't.
It's super complex,
really good.
though.
It
You
is
get
really
the
good.
chocolate, you get the coffee.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
And there's
Get, like
even
the dried
a
fruit.
smokiness at the end.
A little
I'm
bit.
getting that's really good. That kind of sort of cleans up like the sweet bitter chocolate at the very
It's
end.
more like a malty bitterness to me.
Yeah.
Not so much smoky, but
But I get like
love that.
a little smoke to it. Yeah.
Because I like dark, roasty coffee, and I love that harsh bitterness. And it's not harsh, but you get a bit of that in the end. It's good.
So I've been brewing this beer for 18 years now. This is one of my early recipes. It's changed very little, but when I developed this beer, I took 11 different malts. There's 11 different malts in this, and I chose those malts based on their flavor profile. I won't go into detail about what malts and why, but I chose certain malts to get a fruity character. I chose certain malts to get the coffee, the chocolate, the dried fruits, caramel. Each malt had a purpose when it went into this beer, and in proportion to bring out those flavors. And this was the ultimate. This is my baby. This is
It's your
and this-
oldest child.
It is It is my eldest child. My eldest human child is 17, so this is older than him. But yes, this is my baby, and this is I call it love in a glass. If I could drink this on a Friday night, pint after pint, I would. But it's gotten me in trouble many times.
I can imagine.
Just ask my wife.
It's a great beer.
It is.
It's
and
amazing.
it what's really nice about it is it's one of those beers that kind of takes you on a bit of a journey with each sip. Like it starts as one thing and like sort of changes into another. So it starts kind of sweet, and then you get into the coffee and the chocolate and the bitterness, and then you get sort of that smoky maltiness at the end, and that's what I like. I like a mini journey in every sip.
Like a journey.
Yep.
Yes.
Journey in every sip. There's your episode title.
And I think if there's time for this, I think we can probably pull a sample out of a barrel.
There's always time for barrels.
Always time for barrels.
And then we will actually pull you a sample of a carbonated barrel that we have set aside for you guys tonight.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's different barrels as well.
Yes.
Different bourbon barrels.
I'm not sure. Well, this is internet radio, so who gives a shit? So we got Four Roses, we got Knob Creek, we got Heaven Hill, we got Buffalo Trace, we got Woodford. We've done a lot of different barrels, and we've settled on none because they all have a great characteristic. That's the beauty. And when Chris and I started talking, he had this knowledge and he had this awesome vision of having fun with different distilleries and doing these different things. You know, you hear about the Pappy Van Winkle. All right, I get it, but that's a one-time thing. Let's take a look at all these other characteristics, and even the lesser bourbons, which I don't know. Our brewer Brian, he's a bourbon guy. He knows all about these bourbons. I know nothing, but he's gotten me to the point where I understand that each of these has such a different and distinct flavor profile that now Chris can hear what he has to say, and he can say, this beer would do well in this barrel, and this is why. So we've taken that insight, and we've gone with it. And so that's kind of why I want to get you the Four Roses that's carbonated, comes out of here, and I'll pull some out of the barrels of the Heaven Hill and kind of see what you guys think.
The different barrels can do.
It's pretty neat. It really is.
I love being a guinea pig.
I do also just want to say I am definitely going to start a band called the Lesser Bourbons.
I may go to hell, at least in the liquor industry, for that. So the next beer we're going to get is the Four Roses barrel-aged Imperial Stout.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's pretty.
It's very vanilla.
Yeah, big difference to me is vanilla.
Wow.
And it's really good.
Wow.
I love me some vanilla.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's got a nice creamy.
Is that a good whoa?
That's a great whoa.
Yeah.
Like the actual bourbon is really subdued, but that vanilla really comes out, which is really nice. Like it's not super hot.
Not at all.
Oh, the bourbon's there though. That's good.
It's there.
It's really nice.
It's like a latent warming that goes with it.
Yeah. This is a dessert beer. This is a nice sipper after a big meal. This would be
Fireplace, velvet robe.
Yep.
Velvet robe.
Yep, that's where I'm at right now.
You said velvet rope. I was thinking of a completely different evening.
Behind a velvet robe.
I thought she said the same thing. The mind started to wander a little bit.
Like, the thing that cracks me up is people travel the country finding these insane barrel-aged beers, which are delicious, but people in your own backyard, there are breweries making amazing products like this. It's great. It's super, super good.
And I'm happy to say that in this area, we do have a number of amazing breweries doing the same thing. Not to take away from what we're doing, but I'm happy to share love, because there are some amazing breweries.
It's a community effort.
It's beautiful, and you know, we get to travel around and on occasion and talk to our friends in the industry and sample their products, and they're doing the same thing, you know, and they're making great beers. You know, it's overwhelming what's going on right now in the industry, and seriously, especially in our area, from Philly to the Lehigh Valley and even slightly north of here. I mean, there's amazing breweries.
Yeah.
There's so much amazing beer here.
Pennsylvania is a great state to live in as a
If
beer
you like
lover.
beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's everything. They're great at brewing German lagers. They're great at brewing a good solid IPA and these great barrel-aged beers also.
Great is an understatement.
Yeah, right?
I'm already thinking favorites. I don't know. This might top the list tonight. This
Makes
is really
you
good.
It's going to be a tough call.
The pitch penny was definitely up there as well, but this is
So this spent 3 months in the barrel.
Wow.
which is probably why it's not got that super hotness,
Right.
super heat.
It's had some time to mellow.
Heat.
Yeah, and it's had some time to mellow. It's been out of the barrel probably 2 months now, 2-3 months.
Yeah,
something
about
like
2
that.
months.
So it had some time to kind of mellow out.
Go through the
Is-
whole cycle.
Is this on tap here? Can people come and get it
On occasion.
On occasion.
on occasion?
Watch Facebook. We try to keep up to date on the weekends, what's on tap. And we bring a sixel out every now and then for some fun.
Nice. For some specialness.
Sixtel for fun. Oh, this is so good. Also dangerous because it is really smooth.
Yeah. It's not a beer you want to gulp down. I'm trying to restrain myself.
Well, yes, it is, but yeah,
It's one you want to, but one you
but you
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
yeah, should.
There's just so much going on. You want to get like that big mouthful and just sort of like
Oh, yeah.
go through the whole thing and feel
Wanna
it
get
for
the
a
big
while. Jesus,
What
come
was
on now.
I might have missed it. I don't know if we
might have
said
keep
it.
going.
What's the
Is this
ABV
because
on
of the
this?
time
10.
of evening?
This is
or-
the same in stouts as 10, yeah.
It's a little over 10. I mean, you put it in the barrel. It picks
So
up
it may
a
have
little
picked up a
alcohol.
little,
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure of if it did or not.
but it usually doesn't. Barrel aging usually doesn't really change the ABV that
Not too much.
right? Yeah.
No, not
Marginally.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yeah.
So talk about one of the beers that unfortunately is not on tonight, the Barista's Choice. I love that beer. That's usually what I get my growler filled with when I'm here.
Barista's Choice. So Barista's Choice, so like we talked about before, the base beer for that is Prankster's Porter, which is one of our beers. That's one of the beers. I won a Masters Championship gold medal with that beer. Love that beer. It's a traditional English brown porter, so it's not a real thick beer. It's the drinking porter. And then we use a locally roasted organic Honduran coffee infused in there. If you don't like coffee, you won't like the beer, but if you do like coffee, it's heaven. It really is. That beer is actually going to be coming back out in the next 4 to 6 weeks, at the most 6 weeks probably. That'll be back in our rotation. Yeah, and you're not the only one. We actually I love to tell the story that we have a guy who comes in with 2 growlers, sets them on the bar, and he says, Barista's Choice. I said, both of them? He said, yeah, one's hers, one's mine.
Love it. Yeah, that beer is great. Both these beers are great too.
Thank you.
I don't think getting a growler of this would be smart though.
Probably not.
Well, once you're at home, it's all good.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those once you start you can't stop kind of beers.
yeah.
And it's one of those once you start you.
And I
You-
want
Again,
some more.
ask
Wait a
my
minute.
wife. It gets you in trouble.
I know. I
This
finished it
might be
before
the
you.
first time ever
It's
in
the
the
first time I've
history
ever
of
beat you to the
Everness
end
that
of a
you
glass.
finished a beer
Yes, because it's really good.
before me. Wow.
Normally, when we do bring one of these out for fun, we only do small growler fills. 32
Yeah,
ounce, and that's
yeah.
it.
And that's
Squealers.
Yeah.
Because we try to spread the love.
Squealers,
Squealers. I like squealers.
Howlers,
squealers.
squealers.
I go
Squealers.
squealer. I like squealers.
growlets.
I like
Whatever.
squealers.
I like squealers.
I like
squealers.
I like howlers too. The howlers are pretty good though.
I like Squealer.
Oh man.
Well, it just so happens
I'm
that
just
there's
like
some left.
digging a grave. Oh my goodness.
So Curt went back to the barrels. What is?
I did.
We have more things out of barrels.
So I brought you a little taste of Steal Your Face, still aging in the barrels in a Heaven Hill barrel.
That's
So
correct.
we've got Four Roses and
Wow,
Heaven Hill
Heaven
side
Hill.
by side.
But this is not carbonated, and this is carbonated.
Right,
We have
right.
to remember that.
Correct.
I'm getting more of like a caramel as opposed to vanilla.
I get cocoa.
From
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, like a bitter.
I get a lot of
chocolate,
cocoa, yeah.
Yeah, like a baker's chocolate.
That's quite good.
Yeah, it's unique. That's the fun part of barrels. I mean, you honestly, you put a beer in a barrel, and you don't know.
You know what's gonna happen?
You have no idea.
Even from
you source them from
barrel to barrel in
Yeah.
the same distillery.
So,
So
I
we-
pulled this. Yeah, go ahead.
So the other night when we were tasting all these barrels, we have 3 barrels full of this exact same beer put in on the exact same day. One of them is much better as far as bourbon character than the other 2.
And they are serial numbers not too far apart,
Correct.
but they must have been in the rick house, higher, lower, to the left, to the right.
It's all these
but
sort
they're-
of subtle changes between one and the other. Yeah.
Right, and so we don't know. I mean, we don't know the lineage of where and what, but we know that the serial numbers are close. But we don't know exactly what happened.
Right. Yeah.
But 2 of them are the same, and they tasted the same. And this one is slightly different. Well,
Yeah.
a few hundred in serial numbers difference, but packaged 2 months apart.
Something like
Or,
that.
or I'm sorry, barreled 2 months apart, and totally different flavor.
wow.
So in the long run, on a full production, so if we would take an entire production batch, throw it in barrels, and blend it back together, we wouldn't get these subtleties. But we don't do that. I mean, because we still like to do Steal Your
The-
Face straight.
Right.
So we like to throw some in barrels.
You
And
get like the distinctive character
Yeah.
of one barrel rather than blending a bunch
Right.
of barrels
Right,
together.
right.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and I've never really done like a side by side of the same base in like different bourbon barrels or different from different distilleries, or even 2 barrels from the same distillery, and it is interesting the differences that you can taste.
I can't pick a favorite though. They're very different, but both very, very good.
I think the Four Roses, just because of the vanilla character.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what-
was, I was out of
That
left
was
field.
my initial instinct. But the more I'm drinking this, I really like that cocoa aftertaste.
I want to mix them together, but I want to enjoy them separately for a little bit longer first. But I would actually like to try them mixed together.
really nice. It's just amazing that you can get those flavors out of a beer without those actual ingredients being in the beer. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but there's no chocolate in
and
this beer.
It's amazing.
There's
the
no
things
vanilla
that
in
do
this
it.
beer.
Because some of it you get from the yeast, some of it you get from the
From the
malts,
barrel?
you get it from the barrels, you get it from the wood in the barrel, and just all those different.
So the base beer, so Steal Your Face on its own, again, like I said, 11 different malts, and we chose those malts to get different characteristics. And this was an afterthought, I'll admit, this was an afterthought. As I started understanding more about the interplay between yeast and aging and how things were going to go, I started to see that this yeast is going to do certain things over time, and this malt is going to give a pronounced X over a certain amount of time. And so one of the things that I loved about this beer was that over time you're gonna get that dried peach character, and that's one of those things that sticks with me, and I love that. But the chocolate and the coffee is all dependent on aging and how pronounced it's going to be. So when you get to, so I say, if I'm going too far, let me know.
No, you're fine.
When I get to about 5 years on this beer, I have a vault at home, and I keep maybe a 6-pack of all my beers, and when I get to about 5 years, then I start to really get I get like leather and dried wood and just these weird characters.
Sort of like more unusual sort of.
Yeah, you get these oxidation
Like,
characters
yeah.
over
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
when I get to about 5 years, things start to degrade, but the chocolate and the tobacco is another main oxidation character that comes through at that point. But when you barrel, some of those things are accelerated, and again, as we come back to, it depends on the barrel. So the amount of vanilla character, the amount of, and I want to try that too.
I did it.
He did it.
I went in. I mixed them.
But all those things, the interplay between all these, and nobody knows. I mean, if anybody professes to know what's going to happen with X barrel and X batch, I call bullshit, because you don't know.
Which is the main reason why a lot of breweries blend, to try to
blending.
get
You
more,
sort of
a more
average out,
consistent product.
and you sort of know.
But I think it's kind of, and no disrespect, and sure, I'd love to do it, but I kind of like the nuances of each.
It is nice, and I think the difference is, like, if you're planning on distributing and mass producing something,
Sure.
you're going to have to strive for that consistency, and the only way you're going to get it is to blend a bunch.
Sure.
But if you've got all these barrels and you've got a great base beer that you want to just throw, like, it's really cool to sit and drink samples from different ones, and it's not an experience you get with a mass-produced
It's a
beer.
learning process too.
And you also, exactly.
And I'll be honest, I mean, I didn't, even when in the early stages of HiJinx, there was no direction. Honestly, there wasn't. I mean,
let's
it
make
was
beer.
We want to make great beer.
Yeah.
We want people to be happy with the product we produce. There was no real direction, and still we kind of pride ourselves on, hey, we like to make good beer. We want to continue making great beer, and if we get a beer that takes off, great. We're gonna go with that, but we still want to make those weird freaking beers. We still want to have fun. We still want to be who we are. We're eclectic. We're fun. Everything about us is relaxed, and that's what we try to keep in. Even in when it comes, Chris will attest.
That's why I got into homebrewing, because I wanted to make fun things.
And Chris will attest to the vibe around here. I mean, this is yes, we're a business, but if it's not fun, we shouldn't be doing this. You know, I mean, beer's fun. The business should be fun. That's right.
Wait, are we gonna? I thought we were drinking a spicy beer.
Wow.
So maybe
It smells really nice.
a drop of something spicy. Now, this is an infusion. This is not something we do in production.
Right.
Yet. Thank you. If you come into the tasting room on any given weekend, there's almost guaranteed to be at least 2 infusions or some surprise. Brian, one of our brewers, he does. He actually made ice cream out of Steal Your Face Stout.
Nice.
And did Steal Your Face Stout floats.
Ooh.
Epic.
That sounds good.
So infusions. Yeah, there's still a little bit of burn. Yes.
Yeah.
But, sangria with Wicked White. But this is one of his creations. He was integral in coming up with this.
This is Hop Havoc with mango and habanero and ají dulce, which is a habanero without the heat.
Yeah, I
There is
I know
a bit,
you
like
were
you said,
mentioning
sort of-
earlier, like there's a little kick to it, but you really get the flavor of the pepper out of it, which I, as somebody who's not super duper into spicy things, I appreciate.
It's tasty. It doesn't hurt though, the way I want it to hurt.
We can make that happen.
Hey Brian.
Oh God.
Hey Brian, can you bring some Reaper juice?
Yeah, so it's freeze dried mango, and then a small ring of the pepper.
I really like the flavor of it, and I'm glad there isn't much of the heat. Like really glad.
There you go.
Oh God, what is that?
That's good. That's what I'd like. The little tingle in the tongue.
You see this?
Yeah, go for it. Have some.
No.
It's tingly. It's good.
I'm not crazy enough to put some in my own, but Steph, can I have a sip of that?
Sure. Just a tiny sip.
Actually, leaving the mango sit overnight, it's kind of vegetal.
Oh my God! Never mind. Here you go.
Just take a sip. Don't be a pussy.
I'll here goes nothing.
It's a very tasty pepper, but it is brutal.
The flavor and aroma is awesome.
It is, yeah.
It's good.
I might not have gotten much of it because it's not kicking too much, but
It's
I'm okay
tingly.
with that.
Give
It
it a
tingles
second.
your tongue.
It's gonna start vomiting lava.
So Chris and I both grew these peppers last year, and one night, I don't remember who picked the pepper, but one of us brought a pepper in. We're sitting on the end of the dock here, and I'm like, you know what, screw this. I took a bite. I passed the pepper to him, he took a bite, and we looked at each other and went, oh shit. Unreal.
Whoops.
It was
Like,
it was
three
some-
pitchers later.
Yeah, 3 pitchers. It was like somebody put a cigar out on your tongue. It was that brutal. It was so bad.
Thank you.
Continuously and continuously and continuously.
It doesn't
continuously.
stop.
20 minutes, half hour?
Yeah, about half hour.
Before we could stop going, oh my God.
Oh God. I couldn't.
It's been a long night, but it's been a delicious night.
3 hours and 20 minutes of recording so far.
So not dusty length
Not
yet.
dusty length,
Not
but we're
quite at Canal
slowly
Street
but surely getting there.
Yeah. So we have one last beverage.
One last hurrah.
One last hurrah.
Huzzah.
This is
Kurt, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Wicked White Sangria. So
And
it's
it's-
Wicked
Ooh.
White with an infusion of, basically we take frozen fruit and throw it in a pitcher and pour Wicked White over it.
this is a nice way to end the night.
It is.
After all of that,
All that
high
intensity.
alcoholness
It's a nice, refreshing, light. It's very light.
brings you back down to earth.
Is it wrong that I'm eyeing up the pitcher of water over there?
I'll send it your way.
Thanks. But no, this sangria is really good because you have like the Belgian characteristics of the wheat beer, but then you have like the strawberry.
The nice
it's just kind of
fruity
there to
infusion.
clean it a little more in the
Steph,
end.
your mom would like this.
Oh no, I was just thinking we should have brought her.
She would really like this.
Sorry, Mom.
So,
So
dare I
HiJinx.
ask?
don't even.
No, I don't even think we should go
No.
there.
It's been a while since we did
I
that.
forget what we started.
I'm
with.
just going to go with HiJinxBrewing.com, Facebook.com/HiJinxBrewing. Twitter is at HiJinxBrewing. And they are on Instagram also,
Also, Colony
HiJinx Brewing.
Colony Meadery,
And County Seat
County
Spirits.
Seat Spirits.
Yes.
Just come, get dropped
Come
off,
to
Uber it here, and just hang out,
the
and then
alcohol
Uber it home.
mecca of Allentown.
Yes. You can't go wrong.
You
cannot go wrong.
really can't.
You can't go wrong.
And we are down a person from when we started.
Yeah, Chris has wandered off. I think he's passed out in the distillery.
Son
oh, no,
of
he's right over there.
son of a bitch, he's eating wings.
He's right over here. He's
Dan
eating
is
wings.
jealous.
You son of a bitch.
If you're listening to this fresh, come August 30th for the whole barbecue gig.
Right.
If you're not listening to this episode fresh, then come in November around the 21st-ish
Or
for
just
HiJinx
come-
anniver party.
Come whenever, because
Or come
I mean,
whenever.
it's
Just come
awesome
hang out.
here.
For
And-
sure.
Yeah, whenever is good.
Good times. Good
Well-
times. Tell him the Beer Buster sent you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it'll do it.
And you'll get a free sample.
right.
Yes. Good idea. Why didn't we ever think of that
I don't
before?
know.
Yes.
Well, now going forward, we can.
Yes.
But it's been long. It's been fun. But this is sadly the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And God damn it, thank you so much for everything, Kurt.
This
Thank
was
you guys.
awesome.
I'm so glad you guys came in.
Oh, me too.
It was really fun.
Really good time.
There were a lot of surprises, a lot of extra stuff thrown in there, but it was a lot of fun and
Stuff with a punch.
Stuff with a punch, punchy stuff. Well, I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer.
Wayne the Baker.
Let's not forget, no squids were harmed in the making of this episode, but some livers were. But we'll see you next time.
You know it's a good episode when Rich gets bored.
Oh, poor Rich.